That checks out.
Okay. Hey, Becky.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Hey, we have a couple announcements before we get started tonight. Number one, whoa, all the registrations for Run for Recovery have been flooding in this week. So thank you to all of you who are getting registered. You're gathering your teams, you're spreading the word. We've got sponsorships still rolling in. So thank you for talking to your jobs, your bosses, your organization. Thank you so much. So we're getting a lot of good stuff going for the walk or run. So let me clarify, if you're new out there, this is our 4th annual Walk or Run for Recovery. It is on Saturday, May 13th, Mother's Day weekend. It's at Grosvenor Park in Auburn. And this is where we gather just everybody, the entire community. It's a huge community event. Registration is going to open at 9. The race itself starts at 10. Now I say race, that's for the competitive people, but there's plenty of people. Most people actually walk and take their time. So this is just for the entire family. So you can go to our website, battlefielladdiction.com, click on events, and get all the details for sponsorships, all the details for registering teams. And if anything, if you need any help at all, maybe you're not tech savvy, you would just like us to do it for you, well, we are happy to do that. You can reach out to me or Becky anytime. She's actually the registration guru, so I should probably say Becky's your gal. Becky at battlefielladdiction.com. Or you can give her a call. I'm sure she'll put her number in the chat for you, and she can help you get registered. So if there's any questions at all, get registered. So that's that. We're super excited for a fun event, and we're planning on some nice sunny weather so we can hang out in the park afterwards. We've got some food trucks coming, live music, all that kind of stuff. So Saturday, May 13th, make sure you're there. You want to tell me about Mom's Group? And I think that's kind of all we got.
That's all we got. Well, bring the sunshine with you for the Run for Recovery.
Yes.
We just got home today about 2, and it's freezing here. So already missing the warmth of Vegas. Anyway, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., Zoom. If you're a mom, come join us. We like to call ourselves the Mob, Mothers of Battlefield, and we'll talk about whatever discussion tonight or whatever is going on in our lives or with our kid. So please join us.
Yes,
and I will put my number in the chat. What's that?
I've missed all you ladies. I've missed the last 2. We had all this craziness going on, but I'll be there tomorrow. I can't wait to see you all. Please join us. I'm really looking forward to it. So, all right. So I think that's all me and Becky have. So with that, let's go back over to the Kent crew. And let me introduce you new people. Now there are a couple new people on tonight, so let me introduce you to Mr. Kyle Munkers. Kyle's a manager over there at Rebuild Recovery, over there at our Kent location. But he also is our comedian. He brings us Kyle's Corny Comedy Corner each week to start us out. So take it away, Kyle. Oh, let me see.
Okay. Go sit. Go. Okay. So, due to the recent wedding that occurred, the first couple of jokes of mine have to do with wedding and couples in general. The last are going to be some marriage advice. All right. So first one, fun fact actually. Fun historical couple fact, really. It's not really known, but not very many people actually thought Cleopatra was beautiful. So that's how Julius sees her.
That was good. I like that.
Another fun fact, there's actually 3 rings when it comes to marriage. There's the engagement ring. I'm going to kill that dog. There's 3 rings. There's the engagement ring, there's the wedding ring, and then there's suffer ring. I don't know how many of you got to witness the wedding. It was beautiful and wonderful. Art cried. Yeah, it was great. At the very end, I don't know if you guys heard what Art had said to Angie, but I did, and I'm going to give you guys an exact quote. He said, tonight you're going to sink into my arms, but then from then on, your arms are going to be in my sink.
Oh my
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
You're going to be doing your dishes.
Okay.
All right, on to the advice. Advice for good husbands. When you are wrong, you admit it. When you are right, shut up. For the wives,
Yeah, I
when
see.
you are wrong, forgive your husband.
Say that again?
When I'm wrong,
Oh. Yeah, I see. Okay.
All right, now this is one that's constantly heard and said. Never go to bed angry at each other. Just stay up all night fighting.
just say what?
Up all night fighting.
Oh.
All right. And this one's actually for Angie alone, this piece of advice. If you find yourself in an argument with Art, just treat it as if it's a terms of use agreement on the internet. Just skip all the way to the end and say, I agree. And I got one more, but we'll do that.
At the end. Okay. Yeah. Before our close out tonight, we will move it over to Kyle again. So, all right. Thank you, Kyle. All right. Here we are for Vegas. Do a little quick sound check. I think we're good.
We have a pretty talented musician. For all you guys that are on tonight, we have a pretty talented musician that's recovering at the Kent House. And I think we're going to close. We played some of his songs in the intro, but I'd like to close with one of the songs for everyone. So, Nico, if you could get that plugged. My favorite one is the Legend song.
Yeah.
So if you could get the Legend video plugged in for the end, and we can close on that. Stick around, guys, at the end and listen to Ian's song. It's pretty good stuff. So yeah, make sure you stick around for that. There's any type of self-development program. I think the same thing kind of applies to all of them, but I think one thing that's kind of maybe unique to ours, but not to everything. But what happens is people come to this in stages, and usually the first stage of maybe listening to me talk or hearing what we teach and talk about, the first stage is always pretty universal. Everyone says, this is very interesting. And they say, okay, he's got an interesting take, or they got an interesting take, or an interesting perspective. And then the second stage is, this is very interesting. These are the people in my family that absolutely need this. My family needs this. The people around me need this. The third stage would be a recognition that, okay, wait. Maybe I need some of this stuff. Maybe there's some work to do on my part. And usually people get to this third stage and find out that there is some work to do on their part. And then eventually it leads to the fourth stage, which is, hopefully it leads here, which is somebody saying that because I do this work, because I am recovering, and because I am looking at myself, I no longer need this from anyone else. I no longer care if anybody else is doing it. I'm doing it. And in fact, as we go on tonight, you'll see that it's almost better when people around you aren't doing it. It's better when it's just you. It's better when, but a lot of people come on and parents are looking at their kids and hope they're learning this. And then the kids are looking at the parents and going, God, I hope they're learning this, because it's going to somehow make my life easier if people around me get better. And so you have to keep moving along here on the stages. And when you get into doing it yourself, you truly figure out the opportunity of what it means to like grow and measure your growth through your relationships and measure your growth through the people around you. it's unnecessary at best that other people are improving. In fact, it's just going to make less weight, which will make you less stronger. So, you know, so tonight I'm going to just tell you a quick story about me real quick, about the business of mattering, being important, and being a difference maker. And the way it went down was, I went to elementary school. And when I got to elementary school, I remember thinking that I wanted to be in the in crowd. I wanted to be important. I wanted people to know who I am. And I went about the business of trying to do that. And at some point I got kind of known, and I got in this little circle of friends, and we knew each other, and I felt important because I was amongst the cool people. And that went on to 7th grade, but 7th grade was dicey because there was people that were athletes, and now it's a bigger pond, and now you got to try to matter again. You got to try to be important all over again. And you just got done being important, and you thought it was over, and now you got to go do it all again. And same thing with high school. I got to high school, and I wanted to matter, and I wanted to be important. There's this big sea of people who didn't know who I am, and what am I going to do to make a difference? And eventually that led me to, you know, really not being able to do that, but kind of having friends and being a little important. And I kind of got there. But then one night I went out and I got really drunk. And that particular night, I ended up in the trunk of a car. And I just told everyone, put me in this trunk. And I closed the door on myself. And I said, now just don't bother me. I'm going to ride around all night in the trunk. And boy, they thought that was hilarious. And when I went back to school Monday, there was legendary stories being created about me. It was like, oh man, did you see what Art did? And so I didn't know. And by the way, when I was younger, there was never a recognition that I wanted to be important. There was just validation seeking. There was just, I just want to be known. I want to be cool. What do I got to do? And whether that's become persuasive or become funny, there's always a strategy, and I needed to or manipulate my way into importance or leverage or, you know, whatever it was. And eventually, you know, it got to the point where I got into drugs and alcohol. And for a while with drugs and alcohol, I really mattered. I found a way to make myself important in that arena. I found myself a way to like collect a lot of drugs and show up at the party late and serve the drugs. And it, you know, it really served me for some time, but eventually it led me to a place where I was alone. It led me to a place where where it just wasn't the case that I did drugs with other people. Now I did drugs alone, and I didn't want to do them with other people because one, I couldn't afford it, and two, I got to be alone because it's kind of embarrassing. And that led to a 7-year, maybe a 10-year slide into a point of depth of demoralization where you get it figured out, where I got figured out at 37 years old that I mattered to no one. And when you get to that point where you've now figured out that you just don't, people had to protect themselves from me. People had to get to a place where I couldn't matter to them, because every time I mattered to them, I hurt them. And so eventually it led me to a place where everyone had given up. Everyone stopped thinking I matter. I didn't matter. I could do days and days in my bedroom, days and days alone with nobody calling me, nobody checking on me, nobody caring. I had birthdays where nobody checked in with me. Nobody said happy birthday. So eventually it led me to this bottom pit of not mattering. And I think that when the drugs wear off and you start to detox and you start to try to get sober, I think the mental part of not mattering is where the depression comes. What is it that's going to make me important? How do I matter to the world? Who's going to want me around? And so for me, by the way, when I was 37 in 2011 and I got sober, I had 0 friends. Not like a few, not like my old friends wanted anything to do with me. I had 0. So just as recently as 12 years ago, I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anyone to go out to lunch with, anyone to do things with. I just, I didn't matter to no one. And so eventually it led back to when you get sober and you're clear-headed, you want to start trying to matter in the world. You want to start trying to be important. I think that was the key for me early on. I wanted to be important. And when you want to be important, you'll go about tons of different ways to do that, whether it's arrogance, whether it's domination, or, you know, whatever it is that you want to do. But eventually, through training and through learning, I got to a place where I figured out what I want, which was to matter. I want to matter. And it became the goal in my life that when I would meet a person, it would be to put a positive stamp on their life and to have my life make their life better. And if I could do that, that's all I want. And it doesn't matter right or wrong. It doesn't matter what you're about compared to what I'm about. And I got out of, somehow, luckily, this tit for tat relationship thing that people are doing. This, you do something for me, and then I'll do something for you. And now I'm a little angry with you because you're not doing enough for me, and I'm doing more for you, and I'm constantly keeping track of it. And you know, luckily I got out of it. And what I saw was, and what I learned, that to matter, you had to boil it down. So it was like climbing up a hill of mattering, and then and getting to a certain point, but kind of failing, because what ended up happening was I tried to matter with people, but I didn't know that's what I was doing, and I didn't understand everything that I do now. And so what would happen is I begin to complain about these people that I tried to matter for. They're not doing enough for me back. They're not actually giving me anything. I'm giving everything. They're doing it. And I felt the short end of the stick, and I would complain about people. And if you complain about people, they stop becoming an opportunity to matter, and they start becoming a burden. So the people around me eventually would turn into a burden. And this was in early recovery. They would just turn into a burden of constant complaints, and I couldn't look at them without deciding how they needed to be improved and how they need to be better and what they could do for me. But see, it was all a racket. It was just all making myself feel better for my insecurities, because I hadn't worked that out yet. And so my complaints weren't actually real. They were just this thing that made me feel better about myself without having to do the work, without having to matter. So I found in my complaints that if I could get enough of them, I had a high sense of superiority, and I could figure out how people were beneath me. And so the same people that I wanted to matter with, I now would go down this plan of actually picking them apart to the point where I felt better about myself because I could point out their bad behavior. And then I got to a point where the complaints grew so deep that I just didn't want to be around that person anymore. And I started telling other people how they're not very good people, and this is why I'm leaving this relationship. And, you know, luckily I had training, and luckily I went on, and I started seeing that I was doing that. I started seeing that I was picking apart the people around me in order to make myself feel better. And that was pissing me off, but I didn't know where my anger was coming from, and on. So eventually it led me to a particular phrase. And when it did, it gave me the secret to mattering. And this phrase that whether you want to matter at your job, whether you matter at your family, whether you matter with a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's a phrase. And the phrase is, I am what that is. So I am what that relationship is. I hear a lot of people tell me that they're in toxic relationships. And I know without a doubt somebody that says I'm in a toxic relationship is toxic, because they are what that is. And I know that people that say I'm unsatisfied in my relationship are people that take a stand to be unsatisfied, that no matter what the other person does, they're just unsatisfied, and they've made a commitment to themselves to be unsatisfied in that relationship, as opposed to somebody that says, no, you know what? I am what that is. So therefore, because I'm satisfied, this is a satisfactory relationship. Because I am happy, this is a happy relationship. Because I am healthy, this is a healthy relationship. And what that does is it leaves people out there, and it leaves the space of a relationship. What it does is it leaves that space open to possibility. It leaves that space as a place where I can now matter. where my goal with you is to be able to get to a place where I'm making a difference in your life. Now that's a big opportunity. And opportunity negates complaint, and complaint negates opportunity. So if you can get to a place where you can see that one, it is true for me that my whole life I want to matter, that I want to make an impact, that when I walk into a party and nobody notices I'm there, that sucks. And when I walk and travel, and I can honestly tell you this, I never wanted to be famous. Never. I wanted to be important with my circle. I wanted to matter, and I wanted to be a difference maker. And so eventually, this idea that you can say, I am what that is. I am what my job is. My job is boring. Therefore, the job's boring. So now this person says my job is boring. Well, they're boring. That's just how it is. It's a boring person going and making everything they do boring. And it renders us to this place, these complaints. And again, I'll repeat the phrase because I don't know if anyone else has coined it, but it is maybe an original phrase. When blame stops, growth begins. When complaints stop, growth begins. So I started seeing the world as not so much a place where I had to endure, where I had to stay away from the bad people, where I had to, struggle to be important, whatever way, through a car or through too many houses or through clothes or through a haircut or whatever struggling way I was trying to matter. I started seeing that the real way to matter is to look at all your relationships and the people in your life as this playground to be, I am what that is. And I started having that motto be in my head all the time. I am what that is. So when I began to complain about something, I'm really complaining about myself. I am in a toxic relationship. Well, I am toxic. I am in an unsatisfactory relationship. Well, I'm just not a satisfied person. Well, I'm hanging around liars. I'm probably a liar. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I am what that is. And especially just people making a difference at their job, to be able to go into your job and go, I am what this place is. And people don't, that level of responsibility, when you can get to this level of responsibility, it's like the ultimate feeling of freedom to get to a place where I don't care what place I go in America, there needs to be an art-sized hole in that place. And I had to make an impact. And so, but see, mattering takes no blame. Mattering takes all blame, and complaints can't be on the same vernacular, the same place as mattering. They can't exist in the same place. So as soon as I'm blaming and complaining, I no longer matter. I no longer can make a difference. And so getting to a place where every day, especially in this grueling industry of treatment, or getting people into treatment, or helping your family member, it's tough. But every day, everything has to stay up as an opportunity. It has to be a space for you to improve, a space for you to strategize, a space for you to make a difference, be a difference maker, a space for you to measure your own growth. And the way you measure your growth is you go, man, that used to piss me off. That used to make me complain, but I don't no more. I've overcome that now. I've gotten through that. Now bigger things are pissing me off, but not these small ones anymore. And that measures your growth. So you need the space of I am what that is, and that space of the relationship to be able to see how you've grown. And again, going back to the beginning of what I'm telling you, nobody else needs to do this. Nobody else, because your life isn't about the results. The results are irrelevant. It's about the game. It's about the game of living a life as an opportunity to meet someone, an opportunity to be with them, an opportunity to be this great person for your loved one who's an addict, the opportunity to be, both to learn, both compassion and accountability at the same time. to learn this skill of holding people compassionately accountable. You know, just being able to say, I can do it. I can do it. I can actually hold somebody with compassion and make them accountable. That is the formula for making a difference. Because see, if you can't hold someone accountable, it's going to be very tough to make a difference in their life. And if you can't do it with compassion, once again, very tough, because they're going to get pissed and they're going to leave and they're not going to want to be around you. So it's a lifetime opportunity. People say, Art, why don't you get burned out? You live with drug addicts for years in your house. Why? Because it's lived like an opportunity. Because I am what this house is. Because if I am happy, this house is a happy place. If I am calm, the house is calm. If I am excited and angry, the house thus could be excited and angry. So this house is what I am. And I expect that from everyone to take that perspective. You don't have to be big up here. You can start right now and you can say, well, right now I don't have influence, but maybe the reason I don't have influence and I don't really matter is because I complain a lot. And I blame other people. And when I blame other people, I just get to a place where they need to matter more. They need to actually change so that they matter to me. And I start doing the tit for tat thing. I start looking at seeing how much someone's done for me compared to how much I've done for them. And it needs to be squared up. And then the resentment starts and the bullshit starts and my anger starts. So really getting to a place where it's just an opportunity. I don't care how much I give. You can take more. I'll give you more. It don't matter. And we don't have to play this game of tit for tat because you're just, all of you hope that you feel. And I have no complaints about anyone on here or anyone in the program or any parents I've met, because every day it's an honor. It's an absolute honor to be able to make a difference and to matter. And that's what I've always wanted. But I think that you need to be able to say that. And if you can start out in early recovery, or you can start out and you can say, you know what? Part of the problem in my life is I've never really dialed into what I want. And I've always wanted to matter, but I've been going about it with all this crazy business of trying to matter to different people than my family. See, most people aren't even trying to matter with their family, or the way they're trying to matter with their family is go out and be as important as you can in the world. And somehow you think your family will then go, oh, you matter to us, rather than just being there for them, rather than just being a person that can be with your family. They want to go out and prove how great they are so that they can come back and say, look how I matter. I bought a Beamer, I bought a Mercedes, and look at how I matter now. And you don't matter because you're just sitting at home or whatever. And these odd ways that we try to be important, that we try to matter. And when you just say, well, you know what? I want to be a difference maker. I just want to get to a place where when at my funeral, the people go, thank God that person was in my life because it really, really made a difference. The energy that they were actually helped the energy that I was. And it brought me to a new level. And I think you got to say it, though, because otherwise, if you're just sitting here and you're in early recovery and you don't admit to wanting to matter, because maybe it's not cool to say that, and you'll go about the business of trying to be important, though. You'll go out and you'll try to make things and get people to validate you and get strangers, complete strangers to validate you, leaving behind anyone that you really should be seeking their validation. Instead of your parents, you'll want complete strangers to tell you how cool you are, where your family's looking at you like, what about us? What about just being here and showing up? You said you'd help me move on Friday. Why aren't you here? Oh, I got to go matter, Mom. I got to go matter to the world. I can't be there for you, and that's going on everywhere. And, I had to admit to myself, one, this is what I want. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be, maybe they call you important if you matter, but maybe I didn't want to walk into the party and be the guy that everyone goes, you're glad you're here. I didn't care about that. I didn't care about anything. I just cared about that impact. And once you care about that impact, then this life just becomes an opportunity and the growth begins. And so I want anyone to share on this or ask questions, and whenever I do something like this, I never get people going, you know, Art, that's true. I do want to matter. But it's massively hard, because it is. Because to begin the process of mattering, the growth is intense, and you have to put up with these complaints that you have. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't complain, because complaining is great. It's a great indicator of you needing growth. And that's something that people don't understand. When I complain, there is a great indicator there. Every time I complain is the time that I am indicating my own growth that I need. So when a complaint shows up, it's telling me how I need to grow. Now, for most people, that's not too right. They don't think they know what I'm saying. They're saying when a complaint shows up, other people need to change. No, don't you want to get rid of your complaints? What would it be, a life without complaints? What would it be if you just lived a life without complaints for one day? And you go, I got no complaints. And you all know people that are living this not mattering life, people that you got to call to this day. You could call them and say, who's pissing you off now? And they'll tell you. And that is not the way to matter. That's a way to render yourself powerless. And people are rendered powerless all the time, especially people in early recovery, rendered powerless to the point where I don't have a life that I give a shit about, so I don't care if I relapse. And if you have that in you, that you haven't built a life that you care enough about to not use drugs and alcohol, look, and I will guarantee, I will promise you that right there, your complaints have grown to a place where you are trying to validate yourself through them, where you're trying to matter and feel important by how bad you can point out what's wrong with the world, rather than saying, wow, this is where I need to grow. And I'll never burn out. I'll never. When I'm done, I want to lay on the floor and be a windbag of nothing, just bones. And I want to give it everything I got to the world and matter that way. So I just want people to see that you are what that is. So this whole idea that you can say, well, my husband is this and our relationship is this. Yeah, that's you. That's you. And the sooner you figure it out, the sooner that's the reaction you're getting from the person, the better. The sooner you can figure out that you need to change in order for that person to change. What a relief. Wow, there's a way out. I can change. Wow. Because the other way, I'm rendered powerless and there's no way out. I just got to complain loud enough and enough where hopefully people just get so annoyed and they stop doing the shit around me that I don't want them to do anymore, because they're so annoyed. It's just nagging, So we can open up a bit.
All right, let's open
and
it
ask
up.
questions, comments.
So you guys know, just raise your hand, use the raise your hand feature like I just did. If you don't know how to use that on your device, you can unmute yourself. You can say hello in the chat, however, to get our attention. And let's open it up. Any questions, any comments, any experiences, anything that it joggled in your minds?
And I want to know how people, I want to tell you how people come to me, because they don't come to me and say, Art, you know what? The truth is, I want to matter. They come to me and they say, Art, how do I help? How do I support? And that's an indicator that what you're saying is, there's this person who's sick, and what do I do about this? How do I make them not sick? How do I do this? And I think that we have to, people come and do that, and then that indicates that it's not me that needs to do the work. And people might say, yeah, I get it, I need to work. But when you're saying, how do I help and how do I support? Why? One, I know you want to matter. You want to be a difference maker. So what you want to do, don't help, don't support. You want to make a difference. And you know damn well you want to make a difference. So if you can get it straight, I want to make a difference. I heard all this shit out there about how you can't help addicts until they're ready. I heard about all that bullshit. Not me. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to get that person ready. I'm going to do something through who I am, to inspire this change. And I know it ain't easy and it gets tough and you feel dominated and it fails. But as quicker you can get back to the position of I am what that is and get that position of responsibility that says just need a new strategy now. That's it. Another one, another one, another one. And all failure means is I need to try it differently. So hopefully we can field some questions here, and or maybe you just have a struggle. Maybe you just need to get something out. Anything you need. Maybe you're unclear on something I said. Maybe you don't buy it. Whatever.
And if you're new out there tonight, we would love to meet you. Tim Emerson, we're so glad to see you out there. If you're able to say hi, we'd love to say hi. You might have had to turn your camera off because you're doing other stuff too. We get it.
Chris Soderman has a question.
Okay.
Great.
So Art, to get to that place to where you're enjoying your life more, you know, you're not willing to trade it for drugs anymore. For young guys coming in here, young kids, you know, they don't have a job, you know, they may have came from the streets, and you know their future's just looking so grim and so just hard to wrap your mind around. So much to do to get to that point. What do you think? I mean, what do you recommend as something to kind of just get through until you start feeling the rewards of
Great.
being clean?
Great question, and I have an answer to that. When we don't have anything to show for ourselves, kind of, when we're kind of in a place where we feel like we don't matter, where we feel, well, I don't have an apartment, I don't have a job, I don't have a nice car, I don't matter. Well, that's crazy, because there's an easy way to begin to matter on day one, and that's values. Just an easy way to be an honest person that shows up, that does what the fuck they say they're going to do. And you can start right there in that house and just do what you say you're going to do. Keep your word. You will matter to people. People that don't keep their word don't matter. You will never matter. People give up on you. They can't count on you to matter. Nothing. People who are dishonest do not matter. You do not matter when you lie. You cannot matter to people. They can't do it. And this idea that we can lie and get away with it, haven't people figured this out yet? No, you can't. You can't lie and get away with it. We have people sneaking around trying to lie here. We got people doing it all the time. Give up. You don't matter. Stop. Honesty matters. Your word matters. Your presence matters. You sitting on your phone in a living room staring at that stupid TikTok, who the hell are you supposed to matter to? Who gives a shit? You're trying to what? What are you trying to do on there? You're trying to pass the time? That ain't trying to matter. That ain't looking up at the world and saying, here, I'm trying to make a difference. You can do tons of stuff with nothing. Right now, homeless people can matter. You just got to help others, and you will matter. You might not like it, but you will. You'll matter to those people. Show up when you say. So from the start, we've seen people come through that program, and you know the people that do the best, guess where they're at? They're cleaning the kitchen. The people that do that, they've cleaned the kitchen in that house, do matter. You matter. People that do their chores matter. People that make their bed matter. People that don't make their bed, they don't matter. They don't matter. Nobody gives a shit. You do drugs, you don't matter. Go ahead. Try to sit on a jury of your peers. Say, I'm sitting here high on weed, meth, heroin, or booze, and see if you matter to that jury. See if somebody's going to want you on their jury. You don't matter. Drugs negate mattering. They do. You just can't matter on drugs. You can't be drunk and matter. Nobody gives a shit. Somebody shows up and says, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and shows up at your house to help you move, and they're drunk. stoned out of their gourd. You don't matter. Try to go sit in a boardroom with highly successful people and be all stoned and matter. Ain't gonna work. So do it all you want. You know, whatever drugs you want to do, fine. But don't say that you're on the path to matter. Because getting sober is the first step to matter. First step. The reason I ended up at 37 years old not mattering to nobody was I thought it was a good idea to get high and drunk and go places. Just turns out nobody wants you around. You know, so it doesn't work. Yeah. Good question. Values. Start establishing your values. Hard work matters. Honesty matters. Discipline matters. Things matter. And people will notice and go, that's a stand-up dude right there. He matters. And people will notice when you're not too. They just won't tell you. They'll just tell you behind their back. This guy don't matter. He's a piece of shit. They'll just do it behind your back. No. All right. Welcome, Tim.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, man. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
My name is Tim. I'm from We Heart Seattle, guys. I'm a case manager, and not only that, I'm a recovering addict, and I'm recovering from homelessness. And I still fight my battle every day, but I know that I'm able to help people and help people through the situations, even when they're not ready, to get them ready to reach places like Battlefield Addiction. And I'm really proud of the two that I've recently brought to you guys and their progress. And I'm very impressed with everyone there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm impressed with what you do too, man. I know that business that you're in and what you're doing could definitely start showing up like a complaint. And you could definitely get to the place of burnout when you go out every day. And, you know, I always say helping drug addicts sometimes is like a golf shot. You know, you could go out on the course and just whack the ball all over the course and suck. But you hit one good shot down the fairway, it makes you want to come back. Makes you want to come do it again, right? So, you know, it's like helping drug addicts is just like one good golf shot. You don't get them all the time. Most of your shots shank. a lot of them go into the sand. But right. I get it. You know, and then by the way, this is another job where, and I'm sure you understand this, where sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. And so, you know, you're villainized for trying to help. And it's dominant. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. You know, you're really trying to hold it back.
If I'm able to help 2 or 3 people, you know, completely stop addiction in my lifetime, you know, I've made a difference.
I think you're going to be able to do bigger than that, man. I think it's impressive what you guys are doing, and it's really adjusted my kind of view on the homelessness. And you know, Ian's been really good at explaining and articulating what he went through out there, and that helps me with a lot of knowledge of misunderstandings that people are having of why people stay out there and why they're not getting out. And he made a lot of sense, and so it was really helpful. But
yeah, I can't wait to get Josh back in there with you guys. You guys are going to absolutely love it.
It's good. That's good. Yeah, we can't wait either. It's been a pleasure. And God, this guy's a talented musician, just so you know. I mean, have you heard his stuff? It's so good.
Yeah, I heard a little bit in the beginning of this meeting. I'm excited to see that. What else we got?
Well, on his Spotify, his best song has 5 million listens. So not really small. So anyways, it was a pleasure, Tim. Thank you. We'll keep going here, man.
Yeah, thank you. You have a great day.
All right.
All right. Who else out there? Let's open it up.
Come on.
Art's coming to Seattle too.
Yeah, grand tour. I'm gonna go to Seattle for a vacation. I've never been able to go to Seattle for vacation.
He's coming on.
I'm actually gonna stay in a hotel because I don't have any room in any of the houses. So I can't even stay at my houses. So I gotta go find a hotel room. But I like it that I'm gonna do that. But the hotel rooms in Seattle are outrageous. I mean, what makes them outrageous is they're both expensive and a dump. Is what they're just drug dens, all of them. And unless you go up over $200 a night, then maybe you don't have to deal with the drug den. But geez, I can't find it. But yeah, I'm gonna go up, stay in a hotel, and vacation in Seattle.
Drop some business cards.
And just a brief thank you to all of you for the wedding support, the positive messages, the congratulations, the pictures, all of you who showed up, everyone who watched the ceremony. It's truly, again, an honor to have everyone part of our life and do that. And, you know, it really mattered to us, the amount of people that showed up and the amount of people that came down and the amount of people that talked to us, all of it mattered. So.
Yes, I second that. Thank you so much, everybody. And we do have we have the recording. If anybody wants it, you can message me. I'm happy to share it. It's a little 13-minute recording, and there's
rumors going around that I was crying, but that's not true. It was allergy season down here, and yeah. Nate kept cutting onions for the burger, and he must have stuck a bag of onions in my lapel, and that was causing some water in my eyes. Yeah. All right, Sherry, what do you got?
Let's get you unmuted.
I always have questions, you know that.
Yes.
So complaint is an indicator of an opportunity for growth. Do you visit that place like multiple times throughout the day, or is it more of like you catch yourself in your state of complaint and then you're like, okay, wait, what's my problem? And then you kind of like break it down and figure out, okay, this is what I need to get over this thing, or work this out in my head, or let go of that, or not carry somebody else's bags or whatever it is. Right. Do you kind of move in and out of those phases throughout the day, or is it like a small roller coaster, you know?
Well, that's a great question, because it lets me explain that the process of, you know, first of all, why are these complaints showing up? And if, you know, if you can take a look at your complaint, there's a component to it. And that component is, one, I'm making myself out to be a victim. And two, I'm righteous. And so I'm a righteous victim when I'm complaining. I'm right and I'm a victim. Well, why would somebody do that? And why somebody does that? And the more you complain, what it is it's a case of severe insecurity. It's it's an unsureness about the world. It's a place where you don't matter, and so you're trying to. And so when I can complain, I somehow equate that to mattering. And that's how people try to matter. So if I go out to a restaurant and I feel like I'm not being taken care of, and then I turn that into a complaint and I try to matter at the restaurant, I end up being an asshole and righteous, and I end up being a victim to the restaurant. So it works that one would have to first be on a path of ridding themselves of their insecurities through understanding that I have this pain body, and whether it's active or not, and I'm learning when my pain body's active, the complaints show up. And so what I'm learning to do is deal with my pain body. And as I deal with my pain body, the complaints show up less and less because I'm not in pain. And the complaints are a pain reliever. So when I'm in pain and I'm not getting my way, the complaints are a pain reliever. So that's how I relieve my pain. And so when I get to a place where I understood that, I was able to see what I was doing when I was complaining. I was relieving my pain. I was ridding myself of the responsibility of whatever opportunity this is. And I rid myself of that opportunity. And I say, that out there is wrong. I am right. That needs to change. I'm so much smarter than that. I'm so much better than that. They suck. I'm good. And that helped rid me of my insecurities for a momentary brief time in history. But then you begin to see what you're doing. So when you see what you're doing, you're rendering yourself powerless. You then stop, you look at the complaint, and then you take it as a growth indicator by saying, okay, let me look at this thing and then see, I can put it back on me. Why am I insecure? What do I need to change? How do I grow to overcome this? And the blame stops. So the blame stops, the righteousness stops, and the growth begins right there. And this is the diminishment of the pain body, because as soon as I become responsible for my situation, I'm no longer in pain. I stay in pain for durations of period of time. And it's simultaneously when I'm in pain, I'm also irresponsible. So as I'm in pain, I'm irresponsible. So I'm living in this irresponsible fashion. I'm not at fault. Everyone else is. And I remain in pain. And I remain with this active pain body. So when I breathe and I see what I'm up to, I see how I'm trying to protect myself. I'm seeing how I try to relieve my pain. I'm seeing what I'm up to. It starts losing its value. And it starts showing me really how powerless I've been rendered. And so then I want power. I want to be a difference maker. So that's it. You begin then at this point to work on your pain body and see when it's active and see when it's not, and not operate from an active pain body and go, oh, here it is. The pain body, 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, the world starts looking grim. Everything's falling apart. I'm tired. I'm restless. My pain body's active and the complaints build. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, whoa, what was I thinking last night? I was whining to my husband about the conditions of our house and the laundry not being done. And, why is this happening? And I was throwing this big tantrum. And that was because I was in pain. Because the domination of the world had got me for a minute. And the complaint let me vent out my pain. And so complaints, they're a pain reliever. But when we're relieving our pain through them, we're not growing. We're just making it. And when we're relieving our complaints through our relieving our pain through our complaints, the resentments begin to grow. And people no longer show up as an opportunity. They show up like a burden. I got to go deal with this freaking guy again. I got to go here and deal with this. Oh, this coworker or this, this thing. See, if your job, if your relationships, if they show up like an opportunity, well, you got to be responsible for the opportunity that the relationship is. You got to be responsible for the opportunity that the job is. But people don't like that. Because if they can just say they or them or the boss, if they can just say that, well, they don't have to be responsible for it. And they also get the validation of maybe feeling important. You get to really say how great you are at running the company when you don't run the company. Right now, it's going on everywhere. How many people at Boeing think that they'd be a better CEO than the Boeing CEO? Oh, this is how I'd do it if I was running the company. Well, you're not. You suck. You're not running the company. This is how I do it if I was running your treatment program. Well, you're not. Why? And I do it. I go to the restaurant and I go, this is what I'd do if I was running the restaurant. Well, I don't even know how to get a restaurant. But I could put myself right up there with a restaurant owner and I'm superior. There it is.
So your complaints, I think, tell me if I've heard this right. My complaints, the more I complain, the more it grows my resentments. So my complaints and my resentments grow together, right?
Yeah, because, the complaints vent some of it out, but some of it sticks around as a form of a remembering. So when that particular situation shows up again, there it is. He's doing it again. And that's a resentment, refeel. So we're refeeling the situation, the domination. So when we're feeling that, we get resentful because it sticks in there in our head that we're being wronged and oppressed. And all that. I'm being oppressed by Xfinity, the cable company. Believe me. Believe me. I feel the oppression of corporate America on me all the time. It does. Walmart don't show up like an opportunity for me much anymore.
Yeah. So the person in the Kent house that was saying something about, like when you're starting out in life and you don't really necessarily matter. One of the things, I think it was one of the talks that you did maybe a year or so ago. It led to creativity. Do something creative when you're feeling like you're not having that impact on the world. Do something creative, whether it's music or art or like planting something or walking somewhere in nature. That creativity, I think it feeds you. I don't know. I may be entirely wrong, but
no, you're absolutely right. Well, when you're creating, it's an opportunity. So anytime you're living life like an opportunity, it's an opportunity to make a difference, show people, and just be understanding that when you're creating and when you're trying to matter, you want to be judged. So people need to understand that, because a lot of people think that they shouldn't be judged. Everyone wants to be judged. They just don't want to be criticized. But in order to be judged and deemed good, you have to be able to be criticized, because some people just ain't going to like what you're putting down. So judgment is this awesome thing that I can matter through people's judgment. And when they judge me, I'm on the court. You see, the players down on the court, they're getting judged. That's what we do. We judge them. Well, some people just sit in the stands and judge. Well, it's better to be judged than to judge. Better to feel that. So you should feel and want to be judged, because it is much better than sitting around judging everybody else.
Well, that gives you the opportunity to also get better too. And that's one of the things, I found at work where it's like, in order for me to get better at doing something, whether it's writing or coaching somebody or something, I need to understand, hey, how can I do this better? And asking that question is, it's a vulnerable thing, but it's also, I think, helpful. So,
and also I think that for me, and maybe not for everyone, but for me, taking criticism is the most painful thing I could ever do. I sometimes don't even want to put myself out there to face it. It's so painful to have people not like what you're putting down. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how people that, go out and are famous and know millions of people and have millions of followers, and how they go down and scroll down those comments and just hear people. It's got to be, it's got to be very tough. They got to develop a real. We got Renee raising her hand.
Yeah, I can't put you on the spotlight, Renee, because your camera's not on, but let's get you unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Art. Hi, Angie. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you guys. I just wanted to say a little bit that this conversation tonight really resonated with me and hit here at home, because when I was touched by addiction that touched my family and touched my own children, it started with a lot of things about them not feeling that they mattered. And when they started to talk about how they felt they didn't matter, then it touched me as a parent on how did I let my children get to that point, or what did I do for my children to get to that point where they felt they didn't matter and that drugs were a more important option for them in life. And then I began to focus all of my energy on helping them find a way for them to matter to themselves. I felt like if I could help them find a way to matter to themselves, they're going to want to give up the addiction, or they're going to stop that addiction. But I didn't want to quit until I knew they felt they mattered to themselves.
Yeah.
And
It's a tough
and-
proposition, but
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
you know, I don't.
And what fell apart in all of that was I kept forgetting about the other thing that mattered, which was me. And I finally had to take a little stance and tell myself, until I really show them that I matter, I can help teach them more about what I was trying to teach them in life in the first place. You mattered all along. However you got off on the wrong path and felt that way, that matters to everybody. You're just not seeing it for yourself and helping yourself realize you really do matter. And I just wanted other parents out there to look at it from that perspective too, that I went about blaming myself for a long time. And after losing a son, I had to sit back and really look at what the hell really mattered out here. Because at first I thought nothing mattered. Okay, this shit show is over, nothing mattered. But what I had to figure out was there's still a lot left to matter. And one of those things is I have to matter, and my kids need to figure out what matters to them. So thank you.
I want to encourage, I know your path, Renee, you've had it tough, and I understand what you went through, and I understand what it's like to be the mother you are with those two boys, and I get that. I just want to refocus and make sure that one, if a person wants to make a difference, that and I want to matter, that it's just about me matter, that one can't really and I know what you mean, but a little lightly kind of direct it a different way and say, we don't want parents trying to help their kids matter.
No, I got caught up in that. That's what I'm saying. I spent years being caught up in that, Art.
I know. I get it. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, that's what I meant by that.
Yeah,
I spent years.
I don't want you to. I don't want anyone to help their kids matter. That what you need to do is focus on you being a difference maker and your strategy to inspire, and that's pretty much.
Absolutely, yes. And if it came across any different, I didn't mean it to, but that's exactly what I meant. I spent years thinking that if I could help my kids matter, this would all go away. But
I used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right when I was first in this, I used to think if I went out and helped this person to matter, that somehow that would make me matter. And I used to try that, and it always backfired because it robbed a person of their own success. Okay, Renee.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Renee.
Good to see you, Renee. Hey, Renee S. Let's get you unmuted. 2 Renees.
Hi.
Hey, Renee.
I wanted to say, first of all, you were talking about at your funeral, you want people to be, saying he was a difference maker in their lives. I hope that's what people are saying. Well, I'm going to tell you, before you die, you have made a difference in my life. Yeah. So there you go.
well, of course, I live by. I also kind of live by a premise, like, what happens the day after I die. So like, that's a question for me. I don't really see. You know what I mean? I've never saw it. I always think to that question. Well, okay, we die, then what happens? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
and I always imagine myself hovering over the funeral and getting to, you know what I mean? Having everyone talk about me.
Listening in, huh?
Yeah.
It'll be a good one though, Art. I'm telling you. If you go before me, it's going to be a party. I know that. So anyway, so getting back to a difference maker. So are you saying to become a difference maker, it begins with, I have a 2-part question. Does it begin with yourself? And being a difference maker, does it matter like how enormous it is? Can it just be the little things?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, you guys all have this skill already. I mean, especially the mothers of Battlefield, all of you that come around, just each one of you does this automatically, you know, whether it's Kristen or Becky bringing these cookies, that she just does it, or Kristen making the room more beautiful, or you coming and doing yoga, or whatever it is, this positive thing. And this, all of you with this energy that's so light and so beautiful. And, you know, it's just in our own heads to say, I just want to put a positive stamp on somebody's life. I don't care how big or little that is. I just don't want to be a negative stamp. I don't want to make a negative difference. And I don't want to come in my life. And I think that for me, that was just also I mean, Sherry is a difference maker. You are a difference maker. And everyone on here is. And I think it's just okay that we get to a point where we say that. Yeah. And then it doesn't matter, because as long as you're living each relationship as a space to make a difference, a space to show up in, a space for me, not a complaint, but a space, an opportunity. And if you do that, that's just the life path. It doesn't matter about results. It doesn't matter if it's really true. It doesn't matter. See, it just matters that that's what you do. What you do is you look at your relationship as a space to hold, as a place for you to improve and grow and make a difference and put a positive impact and be what that is. I am what that is. Now, I've had relationships that didn't pan out, but I years went at that as an opportunity. I won't give up until I've ground my head into until I've hit my head against the wall thousands of times. I don't give up on people. And it's very tough for me to give up. In fact, I don't think I've ever given up on anyone, including people that I've done this with. But sometimes you end up having to get away or whatever it is. But you know, I think that most people haven't made this first initial effort. A lot of people live relationships with their hands crossed, going, I'm going to see how this pans out. I'm going to see what this person has to offer me. I'm going to see, you know, tit for tat. I'm going to quid pro quo, whatever it is. Like, you do something, I do something. And it's not very normal to see people go, you know what, I'm just not going to live that way. I'm going to live as with this space in front of me.
Yeah, like one of the things that I was taught in my yoga training was be the light. So don't wait around for somebody to do something for you, or don't sit around complaining about something, but make a difference in the world by just turning your light on, and whatever small, whatever it is, just do something positive in the world. It's contagious, I think. And
speaking to the addicts in the program, or addicts or people in the program, speaking to them specifically, what sometimes happens is we get so down, we get so depressed, we get so sad, we get so whatever, that we begin to suck the energy. And what happens is the people around us see it, that we're sad, see that we're unhappy, and start doing a lot of things to try to make us happy. Start doing a lot of things to try to, and then it gets worse. You know, you give an inch, they take a mile. You give them a yard, they ask you to mow it. And it's like getting to a place where people's pain becomes this way to control, and my sadness becomes the way to control my environment. If I come out grumpy, if I sit with my head down, if I pout, if I do these things, somebody will come and try to see that I'm so sad that they need to change, that they need to do something for me. And parents will know this, that some of you, your kids are so good at this that you want them to smile so desperately that you're willing to do almost anything to get a smile, that you just want to take their pain face away. And so now you find yourself maybe trying to correct them, but then you yell too much. So now you want to take them out to ice cream or give them some money or whatever it is. And it's a whole game that we've done as drug addicts or as people that aren't doing so well, to get to a place where I can control my environment through my anger and my sadness and try to dominate and tell people they got to change. And I'm a complete dick, but I don't see it. and just I'm not going to come out of my room or whatever I'm going to do to try to dominate this situation. And don't get it twisted. People staying in their room, people being grumpy, they are trying to dominate. Don't get it twisted. They are trying to control their environment. The guy that comes out and goes, don't even talk to me before my coffee. That's the guy that's trying to dominate. And people with their downtrodden, depressed way of being and their show they're putting on with their pain. Let me show the world how I'm in so much pain and how the world sucks, and the sighs, the rolling of the eyes. That is human beings trying to dominate a situation. So they are trying to matter, but look at how they're going about the business of it. They're trying to matter. It's just in a shitty way.
I think maybe on, I'm not talking about your deathbed, but on your deathbed, it would be the same situation the way your life goes, like while you're living. So if you look in the mirror on your deathbed, if you look in the mirror while you're living, but you're angry and pissed, it's like, it's a reflection of what's going to come back at you. I mean, it's the truth, because if you put out vitriol, that's what you're getting, right? No one wants to be around you. But if you, right? I mean,
yeah. And the only people that want to be around us is the people that want to try to take our pain away.
Yeah.
And the people that want to, hey, what can I do to make you happy? Nothing. And go about this business of trying to make somebody else happy. And Jesus Christ, it's like I said, it's like a boat, a money pit. Same way we're learning down here now with the pool. It's also a money pit. So pool and boat, same thing, by the way. Yeah. I've never heard, boat was bring on another 1,000. Well, we got to come up with one. Please loan me money or whatever we come up with for pool. But
hey, and I did watch your guys' wedding video. It was beautiful. And Angie, your dress was so beautiful. Oh my goodness. And I wanted to say that, I don't know, or it could have been like really bad allergies, but it didn't look like there was a lot of fauna around there, but boy.
Well, we've determined Nate just admitted to the onions in the lapel. So
well, I'm happy for you too. So happy marriage, you two.
Thank you. And thank you for that awesome pillow. Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And before I go, so Lucas, for tomorrow, we're going to be doing the jambalaya. We're doing jambalaya and we're doing yoga tomorrow. And that was Lucas's idea for jambalaya. So he's going to be in the kitchen helping me put it together. And whoever else there at the house wants to help, please come and help. Okay. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at probably 3.
Awesome.
That's so awesome. I love that you're doing that, Renee. Thank you so much. And Denise, yes, I'll send you guys the video. I'll definitely do that. And it's 8:20, so we might want to start thinking about the song. We want to share some of Ian's music. Kyle also has one more joke. Kyle, do you want to go ahead and do the joke now? Or
where's this coming from? I'm not prepared. Okay, I will, yeah. Yeah, it's just one more joke. It was too good not to do. It had nothing to do with wedding or marriage or anything, so I just thought I'd separate it. But I've been doing, the other day, I went to the mall to get some new clothes, and while I was in the dressing room trying it on, I came to the conclusion that I officially now have the body of a porn star. It's true. It's facts. All my shirts say XXX. All right, that's it.
Well, we're gonna close, and Nico, give me the thumbs up or say something if you've got the song queued up.
I got it. He's got it.
Okay. Well, then let me close with again. I just want to say that I hope that people recognize that you want to matter, that you'd like to be a person that people wanted around. And I think if you admit that, and you stay away from trying to be important through all these weird ways, and you go with values and making a difference and being a difference maker. I think that if you look at it that way, the path will be much straighter and much clearer. You won't be bouncing around doing all this weird shit to try to be important. You will be just straightforward, trying to do it. And it took me years of bouncing around trying to figure out what it is that I was up to until I got to a place where I went, what I want to do is matter. And then it's easy because now I know what I want. And now all I have to do is just try to make a positive impact on someone's life and have them show up like an opportunity for me. And it cleared out a lot. So hope that helps. And again, every week, thank you for coming, and thank you for everyone. And please stick around and listen to this song. It's very impressive. Thank you.
Just your head.
There's all of them.
And check him out on Spotify and like his stuff so he gets more likes. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody. See you moms tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Can't wait.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. Bye.